Hello, I am Dr. Abhishek Sharma. In this video, I will discuss the digital modulation and its type. So let us start. Digital modulations. A digital modulation means that you are transmitting your data in terms of digital methodologies. For example, in analog modulation, our transmission data, especially the message signal, is in the form of analog time varying signal, but in digital modulation scheme our message is in the form of digital bit stream. So there are basically two types of digital methodologies. Number one is the baseband digital transmission, and the second one is band pass digital modulation. The difference between the baseband and bandpass digital modulation is that in baseband digital transmission, or you can say digital modulation schemes, we are basically converting our analog signal into the digital bit stream and transmit the same data with the help of wired media. But in bandpass digital modulations, we transmit our digital data in terms of analog representation. For example, if you are to send your data bit stream as only one, then you have to transmit only a carrier at once. I will discuss this in the next slide. Basically, bandpass digital modulation is used where a wireless medium is used. So wireless methodologies require some sort of antenna transmission, but the antenna transmission is only possible with the help of electromagnetic signals. Basically, the electromagnetic signals are analog in nature. So in bandpass digital modulations, we basically first convert our digital data into some carrier representations. It may be in different formats, either in terms of frequency presentation, data presentation in terms of frequency, or data presentation in terms of amplitude, or in phase. So basically, bandpass modulation is only happens when digital data is transmitted with the help of some analog modulation methodologies. The baseband digital modulation schemes is already been described for Unit 3 videos. For example, delta modulation, the most common is pulse code modulation, differential PCM, adaptive delta modulation, and so on. So these are basically baseband digital modulation transmission techniques. Digital modulation, but you are sending your digital data with the help of wired media, so there is no requirement of carrier frequencies to transmit these data from one point to another point. But in case of bandpass digital modulations, you transmit your data with the help of some different mechanism, like with the help of antenna. So when you use these antenna arrangement, that means you are using electromagnetic wave. That's why I'm saying that this is the bandpass digital modulation, because once you modulate your your carrier with the help of digital data, then the bandwidth as well as the frequency, your bandwidth will become narrowed to wider as your frequency of the message shift from origin to the carrier frequency FC, as discussed in analog modulation methodologies for Unit 1 videos. So moving further, now the point is how to convert analog to digital data. The digital to analog conversion is the process of changing one of the characteristics of an analog signal based on the information in digital data. A digital data that needs to be carried on an analog signal sometimes required a carrier frequency, as I have already discussed. When you are using carrier signal to transmit your digital data, then it will lie in the category of bandpass digital transmission. The analog carrier signal is manipulated to uniquely identify the digital data being carried. That's why I'm saying so. Once you change the amplitude of that carrier with the help of the digital data, then you are generating ASK signal. When you are changing the frequency of the carrier signal with the help of digital data, then you are just creating your frequency shifting, that is called FSK, and so on, PSK, DPSK, etc. Now, what is the basically how can we convert our analog to digital? So for this process, you are just taking a procedure that is called sampling process. Sampling process are basically divided into sampling process is basically divided into major two categories. Number one is the ideal sampling and number two is the practical sampling. Again, ideal sampling means just you are multiplying your analog signal with the impulse signal, that is called impulse train or a comb signal. So once you multiply your analog signal with the comb signal, you will just obtain these types of waveforms where you can find that only sample values where there is a location of the impulse in the impulse train. So these are only samples. So sometimes when you're taking the t as a continuous variable, so this is the timeline and this is a actually discontinuous signal. But once you represent these samples in terms of numbers, that means when you convert, for example, this, let us suppose this is 0th sample and this is first sample, right? This is second sample, right? So this is third sample, fourth sample. So when you take this t as number of n, then it will become your digital discrete signal. So that's why the sampling process, or you can say the ideal sampling process, where you can convert your analog to digital with the help of comb signal by multiplication. Similarly, when you are considering the practical sampling process, that means there are basically two processes. Number one is flat top and the second one is the natural sampling. Alright, so in this video I will not take this flat top and natural because this is the part of pulse amplitude modulation methodologies, has already been discussed in the previous videos. So this is just a simple glimpse of how can you convert your analog to digital. So that's why this figure in this section is important here. Now, how a digital data transmits. First, this is a modulator. This is a modulator block diagram. So your sender just, or you can say your computer just create a digital data stream and it transmit to a modulator, which is that modulator may be of different type. Like for example, if it is ASK modulator, then it will create amplitude shift keying digital data, and with the help of this link, maybe this link will be wireless, because once you are using, let us suppose that if this is a baseband modulator, right, then the transmission media will be the wired media, right, wired media. If you are talking about the band pass digital modulation, and let us suppose this modulator is band pass modulator, then this line is not wired, it will become wired media, right? So this is transmitter TX and this is the receiver end RX. So at the receiver end, when this these data have been received by the antenna or something at this port, so denominator again converts and separate carrier signals or whatever the digital modulation methodologies used at the transmission end. It just reverse that process and extract the digital data which was being transmitted from the transmitter end and transmit toward the receiver to see the resultant. Or you can say at this end, the receiver is just received the signal, right? So what are the digital modulation methods? So in this slide, actually I am talking about the band pass. As I have already told you that baseband signals has been already discussed earlier. So in this video I will only discuss the band pass digital modulation techniques. So in these are basically of majorly three types of digital band pass modulation methodologies. Number one is amplitude shift keying, second one is frequency shift keying and phase shift keying, and both ASK and PSK combinedly it becomes quadrature amplitude modulation. So what is the basics for DM digital modulation? Is that bitrate n, bitrate means the transmission of bits per second, is the number of bits per second. So always remember that if I am talking about the bitrate, that means I am talking about the transmission of data in terms of bits per second. Now the baud rate is the number of signals, elements per second, bauds, right? So these are two terms, baud rate and bit rate. Now in the analog transmission of digital data, the signal or baud rate is less than the bit rate. right? So S is your baud rate. It will become N divided by R bauds, where R is the number of data bits per signal element. For example, I will just explain this. Let us suppose that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Let us suppose this is 6. So let us suppose that I will combine 2 bits in one form. Like, so for example, this is 1, and let us suppose this is 2, and this is 3. So if I will represent 1, 2, 3 in terms of digital bit stream, so definitely the required bit rate will become now just 1 by 3 as per the previously required rate. So just for example, if 1 appears in the bit stream, then you will transmit 1 only, 1 volt only. You can say if 0 will appear continuously, then you will transmit 2 and so on. So definitely by this way you can decrease the data rate. So that's why I'm talking about the baud rate, where you can combine R number of data, right? Combine R number of data bits per signal element. So let us consider an example. An analog signal carries 4 bits per second element, right? If 1000 signal elements are sent per second, find the bit rate. So here R is 1, R is equal to 4, because you can clearly see that 1 0 0 0, there are 4 bits. So R is 4, S is 100, this is R is 4 bits, so this is given, and S is 1000, and the N is unknown. So we can, as I already known that S is the baud rate, then it will be N by R. So you can find the N, that is 400 BPS. Basically an analog signal carries 4 bits per signal element. That means in this methodology I have just combined 4 number of bits into one element, right? Similarly, another example, analog signal has a bit rate of 8000 BPS and a baud rate of 1000 baud. How many data elements are carried by each signal? So for this S is 1000, N is 8000, so you have to calculate the value of R. So R will be 8 bits per baud. That means for one baud you are combining 8 number of bits. For example, 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. These are the 8 bits. So you are just combining 8 bits to form one element. So this one is the baud. Once you get the R, you will get the number of possible symbols. How can we find out that total? If there are n bits, then digital data equivalent. You can say, for example, 0 0, 2 bits are there, 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. That means you can transmit 4 symbols with the help of 2 bits. So how many symbols will be possible? That will be 2 to the power R, because R is 8. So 2 to the power 8, so 256 symbols are possible in this case. So what is amplitude shift keying? ASK basically, that is amplitude shift keying, is implemented by changing the amplitude of a carrier signal to reflect amplitude levels in digital signal. For example, when you are using, or you can say when you want to transmit 1, that means you have to send a carrier. When you want to send 0, that means there will be no signal content in the transmission video. The line encoding will also be important, so that will determine the values of the analog waveform to reflect the digital data being carried. So actually the line coding has been already discussed earlier. So line coding basically I'm using in this case for amplitude shift keying, I'm using non-return to zero unipolar line codes. That means 1 is transmitted by plus a volt, this is 1, and 0 is transmitted by 0 volt, right? So this is 1 and this is 0. So this is unipolar and RZ. Now what is the bandwidth of the ASK? So bandwidth is B is equal to 1 plus D into S, where bandwidth B of ASK is proportional to the signal rate. So where D is the modulation filtering, lies between 0 and 1. So this is the pictorial presentation of binary amplitude shift keying. Binary, that means I am just taking 2 bits to transmit the digital sequence 1 and 0. When as I have already said that 1 is transmitted by a carrier signal and 0 is transmitted by no signal, right? So if 2 continuous 1 appears in the bit stream, that means you transmit continuously continuous carrier wave for let us suppose this is t second. For example, bit rate 1 bit having the duration of t, or you can say TB. Then you will transmit continuous wave analog signal for 2 TB seconds to transmit 2 consecutive ones. So this is the pictorial presentation of a bandwidth. So you can see that this is your FC, this is a carrier signal, and this is your FC minus that is the bandwidth. So f of c minus BW, that is the bandwidth, divided by 2, and FC plus bandwidth divided by 2. So this is the modulator of the ASK, run when you multiply this bit stream with the carrier signal, you will get this modulated signal. This is your ASK. So 0 is 0, 0 again here, 0 multiplied by this term, you will get 0. How it will be possible? That I am just multiplying these two signals, 1 and 2. So when you have a digital data stream, you have a carrier signal with the help of the oscillator, local oscillator. When you multiply these two terms, you will generate an ASK. Point to be noted, you can clearly note that 0 is just represented by 0 volt and this 1 is represented by, you can say 1 volt or something else. But point to be noted, 0 will be represented by the 0 volt only. So this is nothing but line coding, which is NRZ unipolar. Consider an example. We have an available bandwidth of 100 kHz, which span from 200 to 300. And what are the carrier frequency and the bit rate of if we modulate our data by using ASK with D is equal to 1? So simply we can use this formula, D is equal to 1 plus DS. For this problem, we can easily find the number of N. In digital communication, basically we normally use full duplex. Basically full duplex means in the same time the transmitter and receiver both simultaneously exchange the information. Transmission and receiving at the same time. So this is full duplex mode, links communication in both directions. We need to divide the bandwidth into two with two carrier frequencies, once for uplink and once for second one for downlink. That means transmitter and receiver. As shown in figure, this figure is like this. The figure shows the position of the two carrier frequencies and the bandwidth. The available bandwidth for each direction is now 50 kHz, because you have just divided your total bandwidth into two pieces, once for uplink and second for downlink. So that is the important part. And ASK, when you consider the demodulation, you have to just use the demodulation process reversible at the when you see the transmitting end of your transmitter, you can see that when you have used a multiplier, you have just a digital data DT and you multiplied it with CT, you will get ASK signal, right? That is DT into CT. So if you want to separate DT from CT, you have to receive this signal with the help of an antenna, and you can also use a band pass filter here, and after that you have to again just use multiplier. That is actually balanced demodulator, you can say balanced demodulator. This is very important, balanced demodulator. And here again you have to use the same carrier frequency. Point to be noted that delta F and delta phi should be equal to 0. At least delta F should be equal to 0 and delta phi should not be equal to pi by 2. You can clearly say that, right? Because when you take delta phi, that is the phase difference will be pi by 2, you will get nothing, because it will become quadrature null effect, right? And after that you have to use the switch that will act actually T equal to TB, and after that you have to use the comparator, or you can say a decision making device that will take the decision with the help of VTH that is called threshold level of voltage. And with the help of these comparison, the device or circuit can determine either you are receiving 1 or 0. If VTH is less than the Vin, then it will be 1, and if VTH is greater than Vin, then you will definitely get 0. So this is the demodulator of ASK, and this demodulator is basically coherent demodulator, because I am using a local oscillator at the receiving end. There is another demodulation methodology which is known as non-coherent demodulation. In this method, the same antenna is used with the BPF, but at this end a diode or half wave rectifier is used, which detects the only envelope of the received signal, and after that the further procedure will be same. You will again sample the signal, and definitely a low pass filter is also required, so I have to use LPF here. This LPF again, LPF should also be present at this point. So at this point, this is the comparator. The process from this point to this point, and in this case also will be same. So the only difference between the non-coherent and coherent is, you are in coherent methodology you are using local oscillator at the receiving end, but in case of non-coherent or non-synchronous demodulation methodology, you are using a diode as a rectifier at the end of the receiving. So this is the amplitude shifting modulator and demodulator, and in this video I have discussed the digital modulation methodologies, what are the types of digital modulation methodologies, what are the methods which depend upon the methodology, or you can say the converting methodology, for example baseband digital transmission or bandpass digital modulation, as described in the previous presentation. So in this video that's it. Thank you very much for your time.